Okay, good afternoon. My name is Pakiraya Chagarlamudi. You're okay? Yeah. My name is Pakiraya Chagarlamudi. I guess at this point, the next half an hour or so, I'm your moderator. I want to welcome you, first of all, to this Thana Convention Business Conclave. I can hear much better. Thank you for closing those doors, but I hope there are some people to let those folks from outside in. Okay? Obviously, any conference, there are a lot of hard work that goes on for a lot of time. And as some of you have heard last evening, there was a general apology that was requested. Please bear with us with those small little things that happen. And that goes to just about every session, every event within the conference. Okay? And I want to remind you that is true for this convention as well as, of course, to this particular business conclave. Okay? And a lot of folks have to work very hard, as you also know. And there is committees and so on. And what I would like to do now is introduce the committee that has put in so much hard work into making this happen. The Business Conclave Committee. The first person that I would ask is Anil Kilaru, who is the chair of this committee. Please come on over here, Anil, so that everybody can see you and also see how tired you are at this point to make us happen to this point. The next person I'm going to ask is Sudhakar Peram. Please come on over. The third name that I have is my own, again, Pakiraya Chagarlamudi. And the next person that I have is Kalyan, Sachin Kalyan Durg. He's still probably rounding up people to make these seats fill. And we did tell him that he is not eligible to win. But I guess he's just working hard, that's all there is to it. The next person that I have on the list here, again, a member of the committee, is Nanda Kishore. Way back, please come on over. Suresh.
All people are attractive, more educational, more ethical.
Yeah, beautiful person. Ladies and gentlemen, అందరూ తెలుగు వాళ్ళే కాబట్టి తెలుగు రాని వాళ్ళు ఎవరు ఇక్కడ ఉన్నారని అనుకోను, ఉండడానికి కూడా వీలు లేదు. తెలుగు మహాసభలండి, తానా తెలుగు మహాసభలు నడుపుతూ తెలుగు రాదంటే ఎట్లా కుదురుతుంది? చాలా సంతోషం, చాలా వినయ సంపత్తోటి, పెద్ద మనసుతోటి మీరు ఇక్కడ ఉండి భారతదేశంలో ఉన్నటువంటి ప్రాంతాలకు కూడా సేవలు అందిస్తున్నారు. మిమ్మల్ని అందరినీ చూసి చాలా గర్వంగా ఉంది. ఇంకా ముందుకు తీసుకువెళ్ళేటువంటి అవకాశం చాలా ఉంది. ఇది బిజినెస్ సెమినార్. 1:30 గంట, అదే 1:30 ఇంగ్లీష్ వచ్చేస్తోంది. 1:30 మొదలెట్టాలనుకున్నాం, కొంచెం లేటుగా మొదలెట్టాం. కానీ ఇండస్ట్రీలో అలా కుదరదు. టైం ఓవర్ రన్ వస్తే ఆ ఇండస్ట్రీ మీరు నడపలేరు. టైం ఓవర్ రన్, ఎక్కడ కాస్ట్ ఓవర్ రన్ కానీ టైం ఓవర్ రన్ కానీ లేకుండా చూసినప్పుడే సరైనటువంటి బిజినెస్ నడుస్తుందనేది మీ అందరికీ కూడా ఈ సభాపూర్వకంగా మనవి చేస్తున్నాను. మీరు చాలా బిజినెస్లో ఉన్నారు. ఇక ఇప్పుడు అనిల్ ఉన్నాడు, అలాగే పకీరయ్య గారు ఉన్నారు, వారి బృందం ఉంది. వాళ్ళందరూ కూడా దే ప్రూవ్డ్ దెమ్సెల్వ్స్ యాజ్ గుడ్ బిజినెస్ పీపుల్. అంచేత వాళ్ళకి తెలుసు. ఇక మీరు కూడా ఈ సభకి టైంకి అందరూ వచ్చి ఉంటే ఇంకా బాగుండేది. చాలా సంతోషం. మీలో ఎవరన్నా ఇందాక ఇప్పుడే కొన్ని ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్లో ది ఫ్రెండ్లీ డెస్టినేషన్ అని చెప్పి మీ అందరికీ తెలుసు. మీరు అందరూ ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్ నుంచి వచ్చిన వాళ్ళే. చాలా అవకాశాలు ఉన్నాయి ఇక్కడ, అద్భుతమైనటువంటి అవకాశాలు ఉన్నాయి. అవకాశాలను అందిపుచ్చుకోవాలి. ఇదిగో చూడండి, యంగ్ మ్యాన్ ఎన్టీ చౌదరి. ఇప్పుడు మీ దగ్గర మాట్లాడతాడు ఆయన, మీరందరూ సావకాశంగా విని అందులో ఉన్నటువంటి మెలకువలు తెలుసుకోగలిగినప్పుడు మేము చాలా సంతోషిస్తాం. ఈ సభకి పరిపూర్ణత కూడా పరిపక్వత ఏర్పడుతుంది. నా మనమందరికీ మీ అందరికీ ఒకటే, మళ్ళీ రండి భారతదేశానికి. ఇప్పుడు గ్లోబలైజేషన్లో ఇక్కడ చేయొచ్చు బిజినెస్, అక్కడ చేయొచ్చు. నేను ఇక్కడ ఉంటున్నానండి, అక్కడ బిజినెస్ ఎలా చేయాలంటే ఆ రోజులు పోయినాయి. ఇప్పుడు ఎక్కడుండి ప్రపంచంలో ఏ మూలన్నా ఎక్కడైనా బిజినెస్ చేయొచ్చు. ఇఫ్ దట్ ఈజ్ ట్రూ, మీరు మీ జన్మభూమిలో మీరందరూ కూడా బిజినెస్ స్టార్ట్ చేయండి. నేను విశాఖపట్నంలో ఉంటాను. మీకు ఇప్పుడు విశాఖపట్నంలో డైరెక్ట్ ఫ్లైట్స్ కూడా వస్తున్నాయి, సింగపూర్ నుంచి ఉన్నాయి, ఇప్పుడు దుబాయ్ నుంచి ఉన్నాయి. మీకు కనెక్టివిటీ పెరిగింది. కనెక్టివిటీ పెరిగితే ఆటోమేటిక్గా బిజినెస్ చేయగలుగుతారు. యూ కెన్ కమ్ ది సేమ్ డే టు విశాఖపట్నం నవేడేస్ నౌ. అక్కడ మన మంచి సముద్రం ఉంది, అరకు లోయలు ఉన్నాయి, కొండలు ఉన్నాయి, మంచి ప్రజలు ఉన్నారు, నాలాంటి మంచి వాళ్ళు ఉన్నారు అక్కడ మీ అందరికీ కూడా సహాయం చేయడానికి. ఎవరికన్నా బిజినెస్ చేయాలనేటువంటి ఇంట్రెస్ట్ ఉంటే, ఇక్కడ గీతం స్టూడెంట్స్ ఇందులో సగం మంది ఉన్నారు ఇక్కడ, మళ్ళీ ఇక్కడ కూర్చున్న వాళ్ళు. ఎందుకంటే జనం తక్కువ ఉన్నారంటే వాళ్ళే వచ్చి కూర్చున్నారు ఇక్కడ కూడా. థ్యాంక్ యూ వెరీ మచ్ బ్రదర్. అందుచేత ఎవరైనా సరే ఎక్కడైనా ఎప్పుడైనా బిజినెస్ చేయడానికి అవకాశం ఇప్పుడు రకరకాలు చేయొచ్చు. అన్నీ నేను ఇప్పుడు చెప్పకూడదు, ఏమేమి ఏ బిజినెస్ అన్నా చేయొచ్చు. అందుచేత చేయడానికి మీరు రండి, వచ్చి అక్కడ కూడా మీ ఇన్వెస్ట్మెంట్లు పెట్టండి. ఆ ప్రాంతాన్ని మీరు కూడా అభివృద్ధి చెందే విధంగా చేయండి. వెనుకబడినటువంటి భారతదేశంలో మన వాళ్ళు కూడా ఉన్నారు, వాళ్ళు కూడా ఈ టెక్నాలజీ వైపు మిగిలిన వైపు ముందుకు తీసుకెళ్ళాలి అనే భావంతో మీరందరూ ఉన్నారు. కాబట్టి దయచేసి మీ దగ్గర టెక్నాలజీ ఉంది, మా దగ్గర మనుషులు ఉన్నారు, జనం ఉన్నారు. భారతదేశంలో 120 కోట్లు ఉన్నారు. జనాభా ఏం తక్కువ లేదు మనకి, కానీ అది వరం ఈవేళ.
నేను చెప్పేది మిత్రులారు ఒకటే, కష్టపడండి, రాత్రింబోలు కష్టపడండి. అమెరికా వచ్చారు, మేము చదువుకున్న రోజుల్లో ఈరోజు ట్రస్ట్ పెట్టారు, 5,000 మంది చదివిస్తున్నారని చెప్తున్నారు. చాలామందికి నిజమా అనిపిస్తుంది. ఎస్, నిజం. ఎందుకంటే ఇదే అమెరికా రావాలంటే మేము రాలేకపోయాం. కేవలం డబ్బు లేక, ఎంకరేజ్ చేసేవాళ్ళు లేక, చాలా ఇబ్బందులు పడుతూ చదువుకునేకి లోన్లు తీసుకొని లోన్లు మేనేజర్స్ ఇవ్వక చాలా ఇబ్బందులు పడ్డాం. ఆ కన్నీళ్ళే, ఆ బాధలే ఈరోజు మాకు ఈ స్థాయి తీసుకొచ్చాయి. మీరు గుర్తుపెట్టుకోవాల్సింది ఏంటంటే, అమెరికా వచ్చారు, హ్యాపీగా ఉంది. ఫస్ట్ అమెరికా రావడం మొదటి సక్సెస్. ఇక్కడ అమెరికా వచ్చిన తర్వాత తెలుగు వారందరికీ ఎంటైర్ యుఎస్ఏలో న్యూయార్క్, న్యూజెర్సీ, డల్లాస్, డెట్రాయిట్, కాలిఫోర్నియా, ఏ స్టేట్ తీసుకున్నా మేమున్నామని ఒక మిత్ర బృందం తానా టీం ఉంది. మీకున్న అవకాశాలని జాగ్రత్తగా ఉపయోగించుకొని మీ షార్ట్ స్పాన్లో సంవత్సరం, 2 ఏళ్ళు, 5 ఏళ్ళు, 10 ఏళ్ళు ఒక టార్గెట్ పెట్టుకొని టార్గెట్ని రీచ్ అవుతూ నెక్స్ట్ ఇయర్ మనం ఏం చేస్తున్నాం, ఆ తర్వాత ఇది ఎలాగున్నాం, ఆ తర్వాత మన లైఫ్ స్టైల్ ఎలా మారింది, బేసిక్ లైఫ్ స్టైల్ మార్చుకునే స్థితికి మీరు ఎదగాలి. చాలామంది వస్తారు, చాలా స్పీకర్స్ ఇస్తారు, వెళ్ళిపోతుంటారు. అది కానీ ఏదో స్పీకర్ సక్సెస్ మీకు తెలియాలి. ఇవాళ మా కంపెనీ $500 బిలియన్ కంపెనీకి ఎదిగింది. సక్సెస్ రేట్ అనేది ఎంత చేసుకున్నా మనకు తక్కువే. ఉద్యోగస్తుల్లా వచ్చారు మీరు. వ్యాపార, రాజకీయ, పారిశ్రామిక, వైద్య, విద్య, క్రీడా, సినీ రంగాల్లో తిరుగులేని రారాజుకి ఎదిగి భారతదేశ చరిత్రలో ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్ని ఒక సువర్ణ అధ్యాయంగా తీర్చిదిద్దారు. ఆంధ్రప్రదేశ్లో వాళ్ళందరినీ ఆదర్శంగా తీసుకొని మనం రాబోయే తరం ఈ 30 ఏళ్ళు 40 ఏళ్ళు కొత్త ఎంటర్‌ప్రెన్యూర్స్ అంతా మీరు క్రియేట్ అయ్యి 100 మందిలో సమానం కాకుండా 100 మందిలో గొప్ప వ్యక్తిగా ఎదిగినప్పుడే మీ జీవితానికి, మీ తల్లిదండ్రులకు, మీరు పుట్టిన జన్మభూమికి ఒక ఆదర్శంగా నిలుస్తారు. ఇవాళ చూడండి, మీరు బ్రిక్స్ ఎక్కడికి వెళ్ళినా ఏ ప్రపంచంలో ఏ కంట్రీ ప్రైమ్ మినిస్టర్ తీసుకున్నా, రాష్ట్రపతి తీసుకున్నా, గవర్నర్ తీసుకున్నా, ముఖ్యమంత్రి తీసుకున్నా ఒకటే మాట్లాడతారు, బ్రిక్స్, BRICS. బ్రెజిల్, రష్యా, ఇండియా, చైనా, సౌత్ ఆఫ్రికా, ఈ 5 కంట్రీలు లీడ్ చేస్తున్నాయి ప్రపంచం మొత్తాన్ని. దాంట్లో ఇండియాని చూసి భయపడుతున్నారు. రీసోర్స్ ఎక్కువ ఉంది, అడ్మైజర్ పీపుల్స్, హార్డ్ వర్క్ చేస్తారు, ఇంటలెక్చువల్స్. మనకి టెక్నాలజీ ఒకటి లేదు. టెక్నాలజీ వస్తే దున్ని పడేస్తారు మొత్తానికి. టెక్నాలజీ మీరు ఇక్కడ ఉన్నారు. ఈ బ్రిక్స్ చైనా తర్వాత మంది జీడిపి రేట్ గ్రోత్ శాతం క్లోజ్ టు 7%. వాళ్ళు 9 చెప్తున్నారు. అది నిజమో కాదో మీకే తెలుస్తుంది. మంది 7, క్లోజ్ టు 7. ఒక ఐటీని బాగా డెవలప్మెంట్ చేశారు. 80% ఆఫ్ పీపుల్స్ ఐటీ నుంచి డెవలప్మెంట్ అయిన వాళ్ళే. కానీ ఐటీతో పాటు ఒక ఇన్నోవేటివ్గా అగ్రో, ఇన్ఫ్రాస్ట్రక్చర్, ఎనర్జీ, ఎడ్యుకేషన్, ఒక్కొక్క రంగంలో ఏదో ఒక రంగం ఎంచుకోండి. మీరు ఎంప్లాయీగా ఉంటూ ఉండండి, కానీ ఎక్కువ నాళ్ళు ఉద్యోగాలు చేయొద్దండి. నేను చెప్పేది ఒకటే. ఫస్ట్ నాకు ఉద్యోగం వచ్చింది బ్యాంకులో. నేను ఉద్యోగం చేయదలుచుకోలే. గవర్నమెంట్ ఉద్యోగం చేస్తే 25,000 ఇస్తాడు. మన మైండ్ సెట్ 25,000తోనే సెట్ అవుతుంది. కొద్ది రోజుల తర్వాత ఉద్యోగం వదిలేయాలంటే ఇంటి బిల్లు ఎట్లా, కరెంటు బిల్లు ఎట్లా, పిల్లల ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ఎట్లా, అవే గుర్తుకొస్తాయి. భయపడుతూ మానేస్తాం. భయపడద్దండి, దేనికైనా భయపడతారు. యు ఆర్ ద క్రియేటర్ ఆఫ్ యువర్ ఓన్ డెస్టినీ. గుర్తుపెట్టుకోండి. కొంచెం సెక్యూర్ లైఫ్ని ప్లాన్ చేసుకోండి. బోస్టన్ కన్సల్టింగ్ గ్రూప్ అని BCG గ్రూప్ ఉంటుంది. ఎనీ కార్పొరేట్ కంపెనీ ఫార్ములా BCG ఫార్ములా. గ్రిడ్లో కౌ, డాగ్, స్టార్, 4th one ఈజ్ యువర్ చాయిస్. బాగా చదువుకోండి, మంచి నాలెడ్జ్ని తీసుకోండి. నాలెడ్జ్ ఈజ్ అల్టిమేట్ పవర్. నేను బిజినెస్ చేసుకుంటున్నా, నేను రాజకీయాల్లో కూడా వద్దాం అనుకుంటున్నా, రీఫార్మ్ చేద్దాం అనుకుంటున్నా. ఏదో చేయాలని తపనే అన్ని రంగాల్లో ముందు నడిపిస్తుంది. ఏదో చేయాలని తపన్నప్పుడు మాత్రము ఏదో ఒకటి చేస్తారు.
A survival or a mass market where the demand is just picked up for processed foods and convenience foods, but we're all set to take off with the positive demographics and the income levels that are geared up. So this is actually driving up the demand for more high value added production, and the fact that the demand side is looking increasingly attractive is putting a challenge on the supply side, because we are very fragmented, unlike in the Western world, where you have large land banks. The challenge really is to actually organize the back end and consolidate the production and try to reach the metropolitan consumers. We already have about 500 million middle class. People said it was 300 million, but because of various schemes and various developmental initiatives, it is exponentially growing. And the metropolitan consumer in the US behaves exactly like the metropolitan consumer in India. So there is no distinction, and the offerings that we have in the developed world in the food and agribusiness space is very applicable to the Indian scenario. So supply chain reengineering is really the big opportunity. It always comes with some infrastructure planning for agribusiness, starting from grain handling to warehousing to cold chain development to processing infrastructure, etc. And this is really the slide that you see is actually the scope of what we can do in agribusiness. If you see, there are several sectoral aspects to it, and there are service aspects, which is the finance, warehousing, transportation, and distribution that you see below. Some of the trends, if you see the global trends, you'll be fascinated to know that actually the population, the acreage, which is equivalent to the country of Greece, is lost every year. And which means we are losing potential acreage which can feed 6 million people every year because of desertification. So that is the only constraining factor in agribusiness. So intensive agriculture is really the way forward, because our population is increasing. The demand for agri products is slated to grow by 60% by 2030, and our land is depleting every year, as I said. So there is a huge pressure on land, and we really need to intensify our efforts to feed the billions. So this was a slide I was talking about earlier, that India is still in a mass market, if you classify it from a nature and scope of the market that we have. But it's only a matter of time before we evolve as an economy which is more geared to functional foods, etc. So the good news is that India is already an agri superpower. I don't know how many of you know that India produces more milk than the US does. But the fact is our productivity is very low. We are still a long way to go in many categories of the processed foods. But at a primary stage, we are the second largest producer of fresh produce after China. We produce about 120 million tons of vegetables and about 80 million tons of fruits. Wheat, we are second in the world. Rice, we are second in the world. Sugar, we are the largest. Tea, we are the largest. And we have the highest bovine milk animals in the world today in India. So the growth drivers, as I said, the one important trend is the higher disposable incomes. The middle class is becoming more affluent. But the other big trend, you would have all read that, the FDI bill has been cleared. So Walmart is all set to take on India. So that will actually, drive up further demand. And there's lots of opportunities to integrate into the scheme of Walmart by becoming, suppliers to them. This is going to be a more than $50 billion opportunity. And, the increasing number of working women, the nuclear families. So there's a huge demand which is going to, result for convenience foods. Yeah, we're done. And on the way forward, Madhu, I'd like to give it to you. This is the last slide. Please bear with us. We're running out of time.
Yeah, sure. Thank you, Kalyan. Thank you for giving us this opportunity. I have been in the US for last 13 years working in the agribusiness sector. We set up several dairy ventures and other agribusiness ventures. I'm excited to be part of this highly capable team backed by visionaries like N.T. Chowdhury, J. Chowdhury, and Bolin Siregaru. So I invite all of you guys to take a part with us in this adventure. Specifically, we have, as Kalyan indicated, we have a lot of opportunity in the agribusiness sector. India is a growing country, the middle class is growing up, and they demand better quality foods and with a lot of food safety.
Very hard for years and years together in the areas that they're going to talk about in a minute. Okay? Obviously, we have a theme, just all the others. The theme in this one is enhanced prosperity and potential opportunities through partnerships among, obviously, educational institutions, both in the US and in India. And I've underlined 3 things there. I don't know if you can see or not, but I'm going to say them. Prosperity, which we're all interested in, and partnership, or opportunities through partnership, win-win type of partnership, get together. And Mr. N.T. Chowdhury talked about it from a different perspective, but everybody is looking for prosperity and happiness. That's the double line that you talk about, right? Thank you. And education, of course, we all know we're here mostly because of our educational strengths. Do you agree or no? And education is extremely important for a nation's economy, not only our own prosperity, for a nation's economy as well. So educational institutes not only contribute in terms of a business on their own, but they also contribute to the national economies. Okay? I guess I was told that this is a better speaker. Or phone. Okay. Here are the panelists. I just saw Sachin in the audience. He's one of the folks that have helped put together. Sachin, if you don't mind, stand up for a second, please. You were missed when we were introducing the committee earlier. Thank you so much. May I now call on Dr. V.S. Rao to take about 10 minutes to really talk about workforce readiness. Of course, he's going to talk about workforce readiness for students.
Hello, thank you, Dr. Pakire Garu. Good afternoon, everybody. Actually, there is a strong perception amongst many that there is a large gap between the products which are coming out of the university and the requirements of the industry. There have been several efforts to bridge this gap. In India, almost 3 million people graduate every year, out of which 550,000 are engineers, 2.3 million are other graduates, and 300,000 postgraduates. There are several surveys, and all surveys have unanimously say not 18% of this are employable for various reasons. Be it NASCOM, or be it Aspiring Minds, or be it World Bank, unanimously they state that these products are not usable, especially when we go to Tier 2, Tier 3 and Tier 4 institutions. The situation is more alarming. And when we go to rural areas, we have talent, excellent talent. I'm sure that many of us come from rural areas, but unfortunately, there are no avenues for them to express their best talents. So here are certain initiatives by companies like TCS, or companies like IBM, companies like Wipro. They spend almost $1 billion annually to train these new hires. It's basically because of the low order skills, such as understanding and remembering are strong. Higher order skills such as analysis and problem solving skills are weak. Actually, key problem areas are analytical skills. They have roped in 4 educational institutions, that is BITS Pilani Hyderabad campus, IIT Hyderabad, ISB Hyderabad, and the 4th one is IIIT Hyderabad. This has formed a group called Hyderabad for Innovation. The idea here is to encourage students to become entrepreneurs while they are still pursuing their degree programs. I remember what Mr. Chaudhary, NT Chaudhary said, okay, don't plan to work. That's why when my students come to me, I tell them, don't ask me about campus placement. So that's your responsibility. So you plan to offer jobs to many in your campus. Mocha is one company. The 3rd year students are offering jobs for the graduating students. It is a one-stop portal for connecting the employers, the institute and the students. They are doing very well. They have still not graduated. They have an office in the high-tech city. And because of the efforts put in by Hyderabad for Innovation, we have actually initiated this process, catalyzed this process of entrepreneurship amongst the students. There are other efforts by Wipro. Mission 10X is an effort by Wipro to bring about a quantum improvement in the employability by empowering the faculty members, by giving excellent training to the faculty members in rural areas, and also by providing good leadership skills to the leaders of these organizations. In a similar way, Campus Connect and Project Praveen of IBM also are doing. Okay, I'm coming back to it. So Talent Sprint is an organization started by Mr. J.A. Chaudhary, as I said. The main architect and the author is doing exceedingly well in improving the employability of the students across the colleges, both in rural areas and other places. Essentially, they provide excellent training, the skills that are required for the people, and they would also ensure that there are proper campus placements for these people. I think I have already got a slip. Jawahar Knowledge Center is another effort started by Government of Andhra Pradesh, almost in a similar manner. It has improved the employability of the rural people by several percentage. What has started as a small number, I think it was also must be an effort by a group of people like him. In 2002, 2003, it might have come into the effect in 2006 or 7, but the idea, the concept was started in 2002, 2003. So this is also doing exceedingly well. So these are some of the public-private partnerships in ensuring the employability and in reducing the gap between the products of the university and the demand of the industry. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you so much. I'm going to have to ask all the speakers to continue their opening comments, and then we will take questions and answers, and those kinds of dialogue will start, which will be the second part of the seminar. The first part is basically their opening comments, and I once again request my panelists to, if they want to say something to me after that, they could do whatever to me, but please try to restrict your opening comments. You'll have other opportunities to respond to so that you can get your messages across. Okay? Thank you so much for explaining what is happening at the BITS Pilani Hyderabad campus and in general. Thanks again. The next speaker, or the panelists that we have here on the podium, is Dr. Finley Graves. As I quickly mentioned, he's the Dean of Business School at University of North Texas here in Denton. I don't know, about 50 miles north of here. 30, he says. Okay, 30.
He's in a university in Peru and a university in Morocco, and those students, we form student teams from those different universities, and they work on a case together. Well, you can imagine how that works. They're going to have to deal with time differences because they do it real time. So sometimes our students have to get up in the middle of the night to meet with their group, and sometimes the other students have to get up in the middle of the night to meet with the group. But then they work on the case and then present a solution to a group of professors from those various universities. So that's yet another type of partnership that we formed. And then finally, dual degrees. We're working on an undergraduate dual degree in business with the Burgundy School of Business. Students from Burgundy will spend over a year at UNT. Students from UNT will spend over a year at Burgundy. When they finish their degree, they will have degrees both from Burgundy and the University of North Texas. We're also working on a dual degree with the National Institute of Development Administration in Bangkok. That's at the MBA level. So when the students finish, they will spend time at UNT. Our students will spend time in Bangkok. And when they finish, they'll have an MBA from the University of North Texas and from NIDA. Well, what's UNT's Indian experience? The university has been quite active in India. India is a focus country for the University of North Texas. Since 2007, 5 delegations to various institutions have visited India. 11 MOUs currently exist with institutions in India. Those are primarily in science and institutions that emphasize science and technology. There's one of those, however, only one, unfortunately, that's an exchange agreement that relates to business. That's an institution called FLAME, Foundation for Liberal and Management Education in Pune. came about because one of our faculty members, and by the way, 15% of the faculty in the College of Business at UNT are from India. One of our faculty was at the Indian Institute of Management in Ahmedabad, and former professor is now director of this institute. So that's how that came about. College of Business Indian experience. We did undertake a program in India in 2009. We entered into an agreement to offer an MBA in India. UNT International, our international office, had identified a sponsor. It was a charitable trust that wanted to offer education in India, a US-type MBA in India. This was in Ahmedabad. It was to be structured such that coursework would be offered in India, but students would come to UNT for the final semester and have the degree conferred at the University of North Texas. At the time, foreign universities could not confer a degree in India. Unfortunately, it moved very slowly, and the administration canceled the agreement because it had the investment and it was just moving too slowly. We were very disappointed in the College of Business that it was. So is there a future in India for the College of Business at UNT? Well, first of all, India is a focus country for the University of North Texas, so it makes sense. University has a number of active partnerships in university, not in business, in science and technology primarily. We certainly learned a great deal from our previous experience when we set out to offer the MBA and it fell through. So we have experience, we've learned a lot there. And with the right opportunity, and I'd make that plural, opportunities, absolutely. We do indeed wish we had a partnership in India, and we'll see.
Which was a huge success in October 2012. And then this slide I would like to spend 2 minutes. By the time I think I will be satisfying the conditions set by Dr. Fakiri, about 10 minutes. The three aspects that I would like to touch upon is, the first one is for younger people. People who are in their 30s and 35 to 40 and who have established themselves but they would like to improve their qualification. And they would like to interact with Indian universities. They would like to get degrees. Maybe they have only master's degree and then they would like to have a research degree like an MPhil or PhD. There are a number of opportunities that we can promote. And we can have interactions, we can have collaborations, we are ready to offer. There are many, whether it is in computer science, whether it is in business school, whether it is in biomedical science, whether it's in environmental science or geoscience or agriculture, we are ready. And next, I think I have touched something.
No.
Power?
No, not power.
No, I touched maybe something.
So
Okay. But yeah, I can. I don't need slides.
Use the mic, sir.
Yeah, I don't.
Works extremely well.
Yeah, okay. I don't need then the other two aspects is, the second level is people who are experts who come and join us in medical colleges or the various universities or colleges to work with us. To provide their own expertise and talent to our people, training of trainers like that. It will be very good, sharing knowledge and expertise. And the third is starting of institutions. This is where I want you to discuss more. There are many opportunities of starting specialized institutes in our state, and there are many opportunities. And even I would like to share with you some of the developments that are taking place in our own state regarding the private universities. Pretty soon it will not be, it is going to be a reality. And I was a member of the Andhra Pradesh State Council of Higher Education Committee to draft the bill. for the private universities. We have taken the existing Private Universities Act from 14 states of India and took the best out of them and put together with our own ideas. And then it will be a reality soon. And then for the entrepreneurs, it will be a great opportunity to start a university in Andhra Pradesh. And that will be a great thing to bring your own expertise and your own investment in this area. And then, besides universities, there are specialized institutions we want. For example, institution in cost accountancy, institution in like chartered accountant. There is a heavy demand in the Indian scenario, particularly in Andhra Pradesh. There are many private institutions which are thriving, which are doing exceedingly well in delivering the product to people who come forward to take up that profession. Thank you very much, sir, for the opportunity given. And we'll be sharing our ideas through the interaction session. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ram. No, that's perfectly fine. Again, I just want to remind everybody, except two folks here, all of the rest of us are all Telugus. So we understand this better than these two.
Thank you.
Once again, thank you so much. The next panelist that I'm going to request to speak is Mark Christensen. He's going to talk a little bit about innovation. And again, as I mentioned before, he's the Dean of Engineering at SMU, Southern Methodist University, right here in Dallas. And again, I just want to remind you that the full bios of all the panelists are in this booklet. Mark?
Pellets containing capsicum, pepper spray, and ceramic beads at pirates who would literally climb up rope ladders to take over a ship. So these pirates only need one gun because you can't have a lethal weapon on a merchant marine vessel. So they zip up in a speedboat, throw a grappling hook, climb up a rope ladder, take the assault rifle off their back, and they just took possession of a very expensive piece of cargo. So the students figured out a way to work with a local company that had scheduling and targeting software to make that work. So Innovation Gymnasium, again, is a place that's all about failure. None of these were graded assignments set the students free to go try really audacious goals, because I tell you what, they never would have tried this if a grade was riding on it. They would have played it safe, they would have made sure they had a solution that worked, and they wouldn't have risked failure. So finally, what's it mean for the business community? I got about a minute here. I think there's a number of ways that looking at innovation centers can help the innovation community. I think companies can come in and have a fresh look at a problem where students aren't biased by the perspectives that are inherent in the way that you look at the problem as experts. They can come at it with fresh eyes and come up with a new creative solution. They can prototype things, again, 10 days from idea to prototype. It won't be the product you want to sell, but it'll be 80% of the way there. It's a place for your employees to come in and participate with students that get excited about trying new things again. We've seen this with company after company. They send employees into the space and the employees get hooked. They want to come back and do more exercises. They come back and they're more creative in their jobs. It's a source of engineering know-how. Some of the companies that come and join us don't have technical expertise. They have an idea, but they don't know what to do with it. And so our students can help them through that. It's a great place to hire potential employees, and we'd like to think we're a good tech transfer partner. So I'm about out of time with that, but the Innovation Gym at Lyle SMU, I think, is a model for ways to pull ideas out of universities. Thank you.
Mark, thank you so much for donating us a minute. So he was done in about 9 minutes. Thanks again. Well, us Telugu folks can spend a minute just like that. So, but every minute adds. The final speaker that we have, again in the opening session, is Mr. Nagaprasad Tumala. As I mentioned, he's the brainchild or the brains, I guess I should say, rather than a brainchild, but because, with the People Combined group. And he also is going to take a little bit, about 10 minutes, to kind of talk about different things. Not so far, we've been really talking more about higher education. He's going to look at from the other side. Hey, look, we got to do things right from the beginning itself. That's what he's going to focus on, K to 12 education.
సభ మీద ఉన్న పెద్దలకి, కింద ఉన్న పెద్దలకి, ఈ అవకాశాన్ని నాకు కల్పించిన తానా కార్యవర్గానికి ముందుగా నా శుభాభినందనలు. I take about 10 minutes to explain my views on education. Here is a small presentation video. In nutshell, this is what is my presentation all about. Some of you may be remembering this scene some time back. So, US has opened its doors to most of. I just skip this. Parents are so important in the learning process. We believe in engaged parents. That's where Oak Ridge is a big differentiator. And then society. Unless the student is from that young age, is nurtured, socially conscious, concern for the society, he cannot be so complete. So we have many such programs that nurtures children from early ages who are very social concern. Then how to make it happen? It is a very simple pyramid. First, bring in awareness. Without awareness, anything that we achieve, it cannot be a possibility. Awareness leads to aspiration. Aspiration leads to goal setting. That leads to effort, and finally that leads to success, which I call it ages pyramid. There is no shortcut to it. The only way is at early stage bring that awareness to children, then all these things are going to happen. That's what we believe in, and we are doing our best. And finally, yes, education opens doors. All that one has to do is knock the right door. Thank you very much.
Nagaprasad garu, thank you so much for being on schedule. Exactly 10 minutes.
Thank you.
All right. I guess what I want to take about 20 seconds to thank all these folks for spending all their time just to come over here. You know, as you know, some of them have come all the way from India, and some as much as 30 miles, 40 miles, and so on. And we were, of course, late getting started, and so on. They've been very patient. And I also want to tell you that some of them have other commitments and therefore have to leave. Before we kind of thank them in a formal way from Tana, I want to open the floor for any quick questions, comments, and so forth that you may have for any of the speakers. భయపడాల్సిన పని ఏం లేదు. వాళ్ళు ఎవరు కొరకరు, తినరు, కొట్టరు, ఏమీ చేయరు, అడగొచ్చు ప్రశ్నలు. ప్లీజ్ ప్రశాంత్, మైక్ ఉందా అక్కడ? That's okay, there is one here. No, we want to record.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I have a question for the last speaker. What is the situation of a poor kid getting education in India nowadays? Thank you.
Poor kids' education in India is pathetic. Yeah. So, a lot to happen. And recently, the Government of India has published the data that there are about 23 crores of students, 230 million students are there attending schools in India. So the size is so big. When you talk of poor kids, practically there is no schooling. They are just attending schools randomly, and that is probably one of the reasons why they are not employable. Hope my answer is right.
So I got this question for universities, graduates and undergrad students. The industry today moving towards degrees to skill-based. And if you look at totally IT markets or technology markets, all we need is not degrees any longer, but the skills that's needed to perform. Up to K2 we're okay, but how the universities are addressing this problem?
The dialogue in a couple of minutes. But before we do that, as I mentioned before, others have some commitments, and therefore what we would like to do is formally on behalf of Thana, thank the panelists that are here. Okay, and I want to call on Mr. N.T. Chaudhary, again, is the sponsor of the Business Conclave, to help us say thank you to these panelists. Would you mind, please? I'm going to use the same order as they spoke, which means Dr. V.S. Rao is going to get his kind of a thank you from N.T. Chaudhary first. The next person that I want to ask is Dr. Finley Graves.
Yes.
I would like to ask Professor Ralapalli. Chaudhary Garu, please.
Nice and day. You spoke beautifully, and I want to be in touch with you. With your permission, I want to make a comment.
Yeah, please.
See, somebody, ఎవరో క్వశ్చన్ అడిగారండి, పూర్ పీపుల్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్ ఎలా కానీ. Somebody raised a question, what is the condition of education for poor people? మన రాష్ట్రంలో అయితే చౌదరి గారు చెప్పినట్టు ట్రస్ట్ ఉంది కదా, అటువంటి ట్రస్ట్ని అప్రోచ్ అవ్వాలి. ఇట్ విల్ బి టేకెన్ కేర్ ఆఫ్. అవి తర్వాత వారిది ఒక ఆర్గనైజ్డ్ ట్రస్ట్, వారు హెల్ప్ చేస్తున్నారు. అలా కాకుండా ఇండివిజువల్స్ ఎంతోమంది ఉన్నారు. అన్నపూర్ణ రామూర్తి, మై వైఫ్, షీ ఈజ్ ఎ సోషల్ వర్కర్ ఇన్ తిరుపతి, and she is educating so many poor people without any organized structure. So the society, somebody must know, somebody must bring that to the attention of the people who can afford to help them. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, sir. We'll keep you this.
Through 2002 as a process engineer, production manager, plant manager, and director of energy for various cement companies. He left the cement industry in 2002 and started working as a consultant after starting his own company, Energy One. He assists industries with procurement of natural gas and electricity in both regulated and deregulated states in the US. With this, I pass the mic on to Purnachandra Avaru. Good luck.
Hello. Hello. Thanks for coming to the power sector seminar. And the main function of this meeting is to educate and inform all of us about the current power situation in India, and also what are the troubles, basic troubles we'll face across to enter in the industry, and also to get some basic knowledge about the power sector in India. And I would like to introduce a few speakers. I would like them to come and take the seats. The first speaker, G. Sai Prasad Garu. G. Sai Prasad Garu, please come. The next one is Kishore Garu. Hello, Sajja Kishore Garu. Okay. The next one is Nanda Badriraj Garu. And the last but not the least, Yarlagada Harish Chandra Prasad Garu. Please come to the podium. ఎక్కడ The last but not the least is Hiralal Sarmania Garu. Please come to the stage.
No, I was sitting at the back and seeing. Yeah, he was sitting with me actually. He came and he sat with me already, so we were gossiping there only. So I thought he will call automatically. Then a person said, "Sir, पिलवने मालूम है मैं चलता हूँ." Yeah, he came all the way from Brazil to Dallas here only just to attend this panel.
Okay, again, we are going to have a PowerPoint presentation about the seminar objectives. Okay, basically, our speakers, I already introduced them to you guys. Yeah. Now, our first speaker is Sai Prasad Garu. And, okay, Sai Prasad Garu is a multi-talented gentleman, and he finished electronics from Andhra University Engineering College. And then he went to IIT Delhi. Then he graduated with the IAS form. Then he did his master's degree in Durham, North Carolina. And currently he is serving as a joint secretary to Government of India and chairman and managing director.
For the coming 5 years, that is for the period from 2012 to 2017, out of 15 lakh crores of investment in the power sector, it is expected that about 7 lakh crores would be coming from the private sector. It's close to about 47% of the total investment would be coming from the private sector, and most of it would be in the generation sector, about 56%. The transmission sector would see a significant investment by the private sector, and the distribution sector probably the least. A variety of financial and non-financial incentives have been put in place to encourage the private sector. I could possibly call it little more than encouragement. It is more of creating the right framework to ensure that the private sector is able to invest in a comfortable and secure manner. 100% foreign direct investment is allowed in the private sector in all the three areas of generation, transmission and distribution. In the budget of 13-14, a variety of incentives were also offered. I've just listed some of them. I don't think we could possibly want to discuss all of them. I've just listed them here. To create the proper framework in order to encourage the participation of the private sector, the Electricity Act 2003 has delicensed generation. It has provided for competitive tariff-based bidding for transmission as well as for procurement of power by the distribution companies. So the tariff-based bidding would mean that what was previously assigned to the state-owned companies as a matter of right, be it in transmission, be it in generation, can no longer be assigned to the state-owned companies. They shall be assigned to that company which is competitive and which participates in the tariff-based bidding. So, unless a state-owned generator or a state-owned transmission company is able to compete with the private sector, they would not be getting any more projects. So, the primacy of place that was held by the state-owned enterprises is no longer there. So we have a bunch of provisions in the national tariff policy, national electricity policy, and the national hydro policy which go towards encouraging this participation. Now I look after hydropower in the Ministry of Power, so I could not help myself adding a slide. telling you the encouragement that we probably give to the hydro sector. If you see the first point, all hydro projects, including the private sector projects, are entitled for a cost plus tariff regime. In the sense that the tariff for any hydro project in the country is fixed by the concerned regulator, duly taking all the costs incurred by the developer. In the normal course, it would have all the generators would have to participate in a tariff-based bidding process, and since hydro projects find it difficult to compete against the thermal projects, a special dispensation has been allowed for hydro projects, and their tariff is going to be determined on a cost-plus basis up to December 2015, and this date is also very likely to be extended further. A transparent procedure has been prescribed for allotting potential hydro sites, and about 40% of the power in such cost-plus projects could also be sold in the merchant route in order to increase the profitability of the project. We understand that the hydro projects have a lot of submergence area and a lot of relief and rehabilitation issues, and hence we have made some provisions for assisting in relief and rehabilitation of the displaced persons, and we have also made provisions that the cost incurred in all such relief and rehabilitation is treated as cost of the project, and thereby
we were one of the best in the world operating power plants, construction and operation of power plants. On the generation front, we were one of the best engineers we have. We run power plants with subbituminous coal, which is 2,500 kilocals. Running coal with your running power plants with your coal is very, very easy, to tell you frankly, compared to our coal. And in the ash, which is 40% ash, and in that ash, 60% of it is silica, which is as hard as diamond. Ladies will understand how hard the diamond is. So it is as hard as diamond. This silica is about 24% in our coal. So it just rubs anything that goes through that. It goes into the ash handling pipelines and all that. In 2 months you have to change most of the pipelines. So the designs and all that are Indianized. So we had some of the best power plants. The problem was in distribution and generation. The problem was on the tariff rationalization. Instead of tackling that, in 1991 they opened up the generation. And we started playing this, we all like cricket, Indians, and we started playing this game called privatization with seasoned players from UK and US and other places, and it was innings defeat for us. Oh yeah, there was ball tampering and match fixing also. So you can take it from me. Today there might be some issues. When you do a power plant, in India, you have to, they say, pardon me sir, but when the first book has come out, they said there are only 7 approvals required, and we will provide you a single window. Go and submit your application to the single window, and you will get all the approvals, 7 approvals. That was the first brochure. But when we went and submitted the first application, we realized there was another window behind that, another window behind that, another window behind that. So there are about 150 windows to do a power plant. Nearly. It took us 2 years of very lot of hard work. And again, pardon me sir, I have to ask them to pardon me quite a bit today, because they were some of the best. I dealt with both of them on power cuts and on, when he was in CPDCL, and a good friend also, Sai Prasad. So, this gentleman, who is a very senior bureaucrat, he was the Secretary of Finance when I was doing this, Lanko Kondapalli. This file for my water approval was running around for more than a year, from one desk to another desk. And I went to this secretary after 1 year movement. When I came to know the file was on his desk, he didn't even ask me to sit down. I was bringing in 1,064 crores into the state, the largest, single largest investment in the private sector in those days. And I was not even asked to sit. Instead he said, what? I said, sir, my file is on your table. He looked at the file, looked at me and said, I don't like file chasers. So friends, when we implemented projects, we went through a lot. Being one of the first guys to implement the project, we never get titles like Padma Shri, Padma Vibhushan, and so on and so forth, but we get titles file chaser. So I have become file chaser Harishchandra Prasad, and I'm proud of it. Because of that, we were able to bring in some investments into the state. The major problem that I have seen in Indian power sector is that it's a concurrent subject. Concurrent subject means both the state and the center have power on this sector. Unfortunately, if you see railways, for example, only center controls it. So it's very easy, unless Mamata Banerjee comes in, Otherwise, it's very good. Actually, they can control. Our Indian railways was one of the best in the world, right? And the budgets were being balanced. They were doing so well. Of late, lot of companies have become NPA, which were depending on railways because they were not able to pay. So, unfortunately, power is not like that. It's concurrent subject. Both the state has the power and the center has some powers. So, because of this, the tariffs are not being rationalized because the politicians at the state level, they want to give away free power. They don't want to rationalize the power. For example, take our own state. There should be free power to the farmers. But there is no rationalization in that. There should be metering. They are not able to keep meters because the farmers were told that if you keep meters, then today it is free power, but tomorrow you have to pay. So I don't want to get into the politics, but you understand, you read papers, so you know this. So being a concurrent subject, we are not able to rationalize the tariffs. That is the crux of the issue. Much inefficiency in non-automation in your country, that is where you can use us. So I think as a conclusion, I will tell you that there is always a silver line. So the silver line is that we are ready. We have experience. You have the money, we have the money, we have the experience. So we are all ready to take off. So in this Thana convention, I think we should resolve to see that industry can be developed here with the help of, this is reverse. You used to come and give us money, and some of us used to call us non-returnable investment. But then, NRIs. But then it is coming back to you now. So bring the money back into this country. I think we can do a lot. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Prasad Garu. It looks like we have a lot of challenges over there. And again, Prasad Garu, there you said the controlled price or a tariff price. For example, in this country, it is a market supply and demand price. For example, in Texas, cost of kilowatt hour normally ranges around 5 cents a kilowatt hour, but it could go as high as $6 a kilowatt hour during the peak hours. And in this country, the price can go as high as $10 a kilowatt hour if the market dictates. Therefore, supply and demand controls the price here.
Sir, the only people who are missing is some politicians also should have been here, because they are the culprits.
Okay. Thank you again. Now the No, go 1 second, and you will get the opportunity at the end of the meeting in the questions and answer session. Okay, the next speaker is, let's see, Kishore Garu. And Kishore, all I can say in one sentence, is a natural entrepreneur, and he got his mechanical engineering degree from Siddhartha Engineering College. And currently, he is operating about 50 different sites across India, and he is going to talk mainly about renewable energy. Okay, renewable energy and challenges by the private sector. Mr. Prasad Garu told us all the challenges. He's going to tell us some more challenges. Thank you.
Next is on my sector.
Ladies and gentlemen, good evening to everybody. Namaskaram.
He has all grievances.
I am away from the home.
There is absolutely nothing.
I feel like a home and comfortable here. As a representative from power sector, I like to share my views about our power scenario, about our great country. When we gained the independence, we have only 1,362 megawatts. Today, we have 2,05,000 megawatts already commissioned in our country.